chasing him because the relationship is built to make you chase him. And the belief that this is love or chemistry or attachment is your trap. This is about how abusive men manufacture pursuit, how they keep you locked in repair mode, and how your body ends up doing the chasing even when your mind is exhausted and honestly done. I want you to picture this in real time. I know all the stories of women acting crazy over a man who's worth nothing. Let's say you send one normal message, right? Not even anything particularly heavy. It's not dramatic. He reads it, but nothing. And hours pass and you start ruminating and you replay the tone and you look at a word you used. You debate whether the emoji was too much. You tell yourself to wait and you don't wait. You send something, again, a little lighter, a little softer, something very like, oh, I don't really care, And he replies later with a simple, hey, like the silence never happened. Your whole system is going to drop into a feeling of relief. And it usually happens so fast that you're actually pissed off with yourself. That relief is the hook. It's what trains you. And I'm telling you this early because you're already moving towards it, whether you like it or not. The chase starts as a nervous system response way before it ever actually feels like a relationship choice. I'm Lisa Sonni. I know this pattern because I hear this exact moment described back to me constantly by my clients living it right now. Different ages, different backgrounds, different men, but it's the same pattern and the same sequence every single time. Subscribe because I don't do vague dating advice here. I name the mechanics of abuse in relationships so you can stop bleeding all of your energy into something that is literally designed to drain you. The first move that these guys use is destabilization, and it's deliberate. He doesn't announce himself as unsafe. That would be way too obvious. He shifts the floor underneath you. Just enough though, right? Just enough to keep you off balance. He's warm and then he's cold. He's close and then he's distant. You have a great night together and then the next day he's flat or you don't talk to him all day. He delays, avoids, withholds. He asks simple questions and it starts to feel really risky, right? Your body reads all of this as unpredictability and a threat because relational safety just became completely unreliable. So now you start scanning. You don't even have to think about it. It's just natural. It's unconscious even. You adjust. You don't even have to decide that. You start managing him like it's your responsibility to keep his feelings in check. This is honestly where it begins, but you feel completely unstable. And he's watching you. He's watching all of this happen because he's measuring his own control. But this is actually where your energy starts to really disappear. You are no longer living your own life, right? You are living in his mood. So you start treating basic consistency like reward, but it's because he made it scarce. That's really how the chase gets installed, right? It really is. He creates this gap and you start reaching into it and he positions himself as the solution to the distress that he caused. It's a classic move. He pulls away and then he comes back, but only like just enough. And I have clients all the time tell me things like, I'm driving by his house, I'm banging on his door when he told me to leave him alone, but then the next night we're out to dinner together and he invited me. Like, what the hell, right? He calls me a stalker and then the next day he's texting me to come over. Like, none of this makes sense. And the craziest part is we go, and I say crazy without judgment because I get it. I know what these men are doing and that's what we're talking about. So if you see yourself acting uncharacteristically needy and desperate, you need to be listening to this video. You need to hear this advice. We all know, right? One decent text after a day that he just ignored you completely and your chest doesn't feel like it's going to friggin' fall out of your body anymore. Oh, the relief. One okay conversation after 3 bad ones and your brain grabs on and holds on to it like it's proof that he's a good guy, like it's proof that everything's okay. Nothing actually gets repaired, but it does reset you. He makes you feel like you're back inside the relationship, and so your body learns the worst lesson possible. Relief comes through him, but that's how the loop forms. Distress goes up, you reach, he gives you a crumb, you settle, and the trauma bond forms. The attachment forms, whatever. You're chasing regulation now. That's why it feels so urgent, like physical, obsessive, and humiliating, because your body is trying to end distress as fast as it possibly can. That's why it feels so urgent. This is how so many women lose years, because the good moments don't just feel good. It feels like breathing after you've been held underwater. And over time, what happens is you start to tolerate more abuse, but for smaller relief. It makes no sense, but here we are. But we call it loyalty. The alternative feels like withdrawal or feels like dying, in all honesty. Now, here's where the power dynamic kind of flips right around, right? You're trained to reach for relief through him, and then he says that your reaction was the problem to begin with. So you bring something up and he responds and he's all like, irritated. You know that like you're doing too much type of tone that those guys give? You feel yourself backing down and you kind of change how you approach him, change your voice. You start with like, okay, I'm sorry, but you pre-apologize. You're adding disclaimers. It's tripping over your words. You stop making a direct request and now you pitch your needs, right? Like maybe if I say it like this, but he's centered in all of this and you're the manager. You are the translator of all of this, right? You are meant to be calm. You are the person who is responsible for keeping things from getting bad. It's how we get trained to feel so responsible for these guys. You second guess yourself all the time, right? You accept things that you would never accept from a friend, but you're accepting it from this mid-loser. This is why you feel like you're always messing it up. Your chase turns into more labor and you start doing it every day. Intermittent reinforcement is actually the engine under all of what I'm describing. Unpredictable reward keeps the brain locked in anticipation. It's actually something people don't talk enough about. You don't know which version you're getting, so you stay hyper alert and paying attention to him. You're invested, you're hoping, you're wanting. I get it. He gives you a really good week, but then he punishes you with withdrawal. It's brutal. He promises change, but then you see mood swings. It's disorienting, which is the point. So now what your brain is doing is replaying all of the highs, and it's kind of even compressing the lows, right? The highs feel meaningful, but the lows are kind of like something you can solve. You feel like you can fix those moments if only you just whatever. But this is brutal, right? Now you don't sleep properly, you're barely eating or you're eating too much, you have no patience, you're exhausted, but your brain is chasing all of this feeling of thinking that when you're with him, you're going to feel peace or happy. But I want you to really look at the loss of time here. You spend hours thinking about this mid-loser clown who spends seconds or maybe minutes thinking about you. That imbalance is such a profit to him. This is no accident. It really isn't. This is a taught pattern. It's sold and rewarded as confidence and frankly, masculinity. And you've heard the lines, right? Just pull back after intimacy. Don't reassure her. Stay mysterious. Let her chase you. Make her earn it. Keep her unsure. This advice is all over men's dating coaches' sites. This is what they're telling people. That advice works because it exploits women's attachment responses while protecting men from accountability. So it's perfect for them. You see it in all this dating content. Reality shows, viral clips, all of this crap. Emotional distance gets so much praise and women get mocked for just wanting answers. You see it in public relationship fallout where the argument centers on something like boundaries and women recognize control, but it kind of uses calm language. That's why women don't always need a breakdown when you hear these stories online. They recognize it instantly. And when you've lived it, you can see it in seconds. It has this disgusting stench, right? It has this look, you know, that kind of, I don't know, like relaxed superiority, that arrogance. It always frames what you need or how you said it or just you in general as the issue. And culture makes this so normal, but abusive men benefit from it and women internalize the damage. And this actually goes so much deeper than just hot and cold, right? He destabilizes who you are inside the relationship. So now you don't even trust yourself. You doubt your judgment. You ask other people. We all know that feeling, right? You go to your friend and you're like, okay, so this is what happened. Am I crazy? Why are we asking other people if our feelings are valid? It's because he's telling you they aren't and you trust him and now you don't trust yourself and now you start seeking out advice from other people who might be like, well, at least he doesn't cheat on you or give you horrible advice. Now, we all know how we can perform this sort of easy, right? We're the chill girl, low maintenance. Yeah, I'm cool with that, whatever, right? You stop bringing your full self into the room, into the relationship, because you learned that when you do that, he kind of pulls back. That's why when he leaves you, it feels like free fall. right? You're out of your mind with anxiety and distress and tears and confusion. Your sense of self is now tied to whether he's okay with you today. It's wild. And this can get really dark, right? Because now it's not just, why isn't he replying? It's, what did I do? And then, who am I when I can't keep this kind of calm and steady? When he keeps blaming you, you think you're in control of his feelings and how this actually plays out. But the truth is, you're not in control. Your internal reference point straight out the window because it's replaced with his mood. And he knows this. A woman who trusts herself would not be chasing this. Now let's go back to the phone again, because this is the kind of through line that just keeps repeating, right? You see that he read it, nothing happens. You draft the right message, and then you bargain with yourself and you say, okay, I'm just going to wait an hour, see if he responded. It's 10 minutes, right? Before you're already checking your phone. You say you're done with him, but then you send one more text, just a casual one, no big deal, right? Casual feels safer than honest. But he responds later, maybe something like half friendly or the okay. And your body's like, the relief again. Permission becomes the addiction. So over time, you're living for this. This is the cycle. It keeps going. You don't even ask for repair anymore. You don't even care about an apology. You just want the reset. That's the thing that feels like relief, that feels like peace. And I will always remind you, it is his peace. It is not your peace. You are not at peace. You are so distraught. And often we go further, right? We choose silence over being honest because there's no point in sharing your feelings. If you share your feelings, he's going to run. So you just do what you need to do to keep him around you. And this whole time, you feel like you have no self-respect. Maybe inside you, you think this is what you deserve. Maybe you have low self-worth, but the truth is, maybe you absolutely know you do not deserve to be treated this way. But for some reason, that doesn't translate to action. That is a mismatch in self-worth and self-respect. That's because self-respect gets literally traded away in all these little moments. You don't even notice it's happening because, let me guess, you're focused on preventing his abandonment of you. And I know that friends and people on the outside, they think that you're choosing him. I know. They don't get it. I get it. You're choosing relief. And in fairness, calling it a choice, I don't know if I would really use that word. It's not really a choice. This feels like a need. It's not a need, but I want to be clear that when your nervous system is feeling this, it's like you feel like you have to. You just need the feeling, the pain to stop. And the whole thing is, once relief becomes the reward, your standards fall to crap. And empathy gets weaponized so much inside this because survivors and victims of abuse are highly empathetic, generally speaking. So he explains himself with all the usual garbage, stress and trauma, timing, pressure, misunderstandings. He blames his damn mother, his ex, it's your fault. Anything that keeps you in that maybe he didn't mean it spot, right? He shares something vulnerable, so you ignore your own pain, you make room for his pain. And he acts all wounded and hurt if you ever get firm, and now you're managing his feelings about your boundaries. It makes no sense for us, right? But we stop really considering ourselves because we're trying to rescue the version of him that we see early on. We're so attached to that guy. We want that guy back. But he keeps things really unresolved on purpose. Closure ends his control, but he just jams his foot in the door. He wants that open at least a crack, at least, right? So he'll do things like future fake and breadcrumb, whatever term you want to use, hoovering. He sucks you back in. Your brain hates unfinished stories. He relies on that. The longer you feel unresolved, the more invested you feel. Because the truth is, humans protect what they're invested in. The cost just keeps increasing. So the relationship kind of, like thins out a little bit and you feel isolated and maybe your work suffers, your relationships. You feel like you're just falling apart. You're not yourself anymore. You can't think, you can't eat, you can't sleep, all over an abusive man. And for the women that are already like clocking the fact that he's abusive and they're looking at themselves in the mirror, like, who is this woman? I don't understand. What am I doing? I know better. I get it. I don't understand. I am too smart for this. Then the shame goes bonkers. But the truth is, I'm really describing a trauma bond, and I'm also talking about cognitive dissonance. And these are terms that if you're in a toxic or abusive relationship, you've got to know. And I have tons of videos on both of those topics that I really encourage you to check out. So let's talk about, why do we go back even when you hate what he's doing, right? Because distance triggers withdrawal and withdrawal triggers panic. It doesn't actually make you take an action just because you understand. Insight doesn't mean that you're going to take the appropriate action. Your nervous system still associates him with relief. And any of us, we reach for the fastest off switch. It's totally unconscious. The highs hit really hard and the lows get really they fade when you're really exhausted. You were trained to repair the bond instead of actually go, does this make sense to actually repair? I don't think I should be repairing this. It feels like it does deserve repair. It doesn't, but it feels like that. And because he frames you chasing him as commitment and loyalty and love and effort and whatever, but it's actually just functioning, it feels like a personal failure to you, but it's really not one. Like, come on, it takes an average of 7 times to leave an abuser. We know this. This is one of the most widely published statistics about abusive relationships. The system just keeps reasserting itself. So if this clicks, I want you to tell me in the comments what your version of the red message, no reply kind of loop looks like, because that moment is where a lot of women start to really see how trained that you've been, right? You trained in your body, not just your mind. And hit subscribe, because I'm telling you, the point here is not hope, right? It's not, I want to smash hope with a hammer. It's removing the false hope that keeps you trying harder inside a system that literally cannot work. Now, for an incredibly important piece here, we're talking about why insight, communication, and like friggin' willpower has never stopped the chase. You're trying to think or kind of logic your way out of this nervous system trap that rewards pursuit and punishes stability. There is no version of you that wins inside a system that is built on your own self-abandonment. There's no calmer tone, no healing. The loop only breaks when your body stops expecting relief through him. You have to really learn distress tolerance and coping skills. This is when everything falls apart in the best way possible. If you want support breaking this at a level where it actually lives, book a session with me. We get really specific. We map the loop. We identify the exact moments where you keep getting pulled in, and we build a plan that matches the reality that you're living, not some fantasy that this loser sold you. And if you're already thinking, but he has good moments, I know, of course he does. I know. Abusive relationships have good times. Every single one of them does. The abuse system requires them. Good moments function as bait. Something I say a lot, the good exists to facilitate the bad. You get that? You don't need more proof of potential. You just need a really clean read on all of these mechanisms that are overriding all of your self-trust. I know it's in there. Your time and attention is expensive. Your life is expensive. Subscribe if you want more of this told super plainly, no sugarcoating, because the more you clearly understand how the chase is manufactured, the less your body actually cooperates with it. So if you want to move forward, work with me one-on-one. I teach how to break a trauma bond, or you can work with me inside my group coaching program that I co-host with Dr. Peter Salarno called the Trauma Bond Recovery Group Coaching Program. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you in the next video.